Hi everyone, it's time for another cooking video. What I'm going to make today is a chicken stew. I'm going to do it in my slow cooker. What I want to do is show you just how truly easy it is to put a stew on, and that you can make several meals out of it and thrive as a single adult in eating healthy. So the first part of this is buying a large slow cooker. I got mine from an overrun, meaning the company made too many. It was sold at a great price. Now, what I normally put in first are tomatoes or something similar. So I'm going to cheat this time a little bit just to show you how easy this can be, and start with some salsa on the bottom. Okay, and what I've put in there is roughly 2 cups of salsa. So what you're getting, I mean, it's not going to show up 100% on the camera. Let me just see if I can focus. I mean, there's a bunch of herbs and spices in this. That's what I wanted you to see. Just to know that what you can make is going to be flavorful, and you don't have to default to buying pre-made meals or buying more expensive meals with your hard-earned money or disability benefits. Now, once there's something in the base, I like to put the protein, so in this case the chicken, in next. So I've got 4 chicken breasts. What I normally do, we'll let these cook for 6-8 hours on low in the slow cooker, and then I'll fish them out, cube them, and then put them back in to finish cooking. So I just need to wash my hands from handling the chicken. Just give me a moment. Okay, the next step is just as easy. What I do, is buy these big bulk or large bags. So this is 2 kilograms, or in round numbers 5 pounds worth of vegetables. And these are flash frozen. Yeah, I know it's not fresh, but if you're dealing with chronic pain or physical disability, I just want to give you ideas that make life work. And this isn't to mention just how much pleasure you'll get over the fact that it came from your own kitchen. So what I normally do is maybe 2/3 of the slow cooker, so about this much is vegetables. Sort of 25% protein, and then sort of 50% is the vegetables, and the rest is water and seasoning for the most part. Now I want to give you another option to continue making life easy, and that is using dehydrated onions. So with these, you're not going to be tearing up as you dice them. I mean, the easy way to cut up onions is basically to make a rose out of them, splitting it in half, the other way, and then on the 2 angles, and then cut them in layers, if that makes sense to you. But for this video, I'm just wanting to focus on what can be done easily without a lot of experience. So how much onions I'm going to put in here is sort of personal preference. I do want you to bear in mind that onions are healthy for you. So I'm aiming for about 16 servings out of this, and I would like to have about 4 heaping tablespoons in there. So what I do, 1, 2, oops, some of that spilled on the countertop, but that's fine. I don't normally work with the camera in front of me like this. Okay, and so there's the onions in it. Now, the onions need water to become, basically become onions again, to rehydrate. Now, there's a few ways of doing this. So one of the ways is buying canned diced tomatoes and putting the juice in. Now, I want to make this a bit educational. So when you're shopping, what you need to do is take a look-see at the ingredients. Some of these contain sugar, so I just wanted to caution those who are diabetics to just buy diced tomatoes that are in citric acid. And then what you can do instead is add your own spices, and I'll demonstrate that as well as the step arises. I've got a powered can opener here. If you have, if you've lost the use of a hand, this might be an option for you. You know, 30% open, so at least it can be poured out. Okay, so I'm going to try on the second can. Some of you may be partial to a handheld can opener. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just wanting to give options so you can figure out what part works for you and then adopt it to your life. Okay, so what I'm struggling with is the angle needed to by having the camera directly in front of me. Thanks for bearing with me. So I have included the juice in that. Now we get into some of the practical part of this. The cans need cleaning out anyways before going to the recycling box. So I use the same cans and throw the water of cleaning them out into the slow cooker. Okay, but that gets a lot of the parts that stuck to the edge. Okay, and that's the first can that I opened. Let me grab the second one. Yeah, so you'll sort of see now the water level's right at that edge, and that's where I like it. Okay, so what else do we need to add for making this is some rice. So for my size slow cooker, 3/4 of a cup is what works. What works, the amount that's appropriate. It's got the right ratio between stew and rice. So here's 1/3 of a cup. Yeah, and there's the rest of the rice right there. Now, there is a trick that goes with this. The rice needs to be stirred in. Otherwise, the rice forms its own little clump. So my initial stirring is just trying to separate it in and amongst the last item added. So you want to put in the frozen guys first, and you could even sprinkle the rice in some at that point, but you need to stir this about once an hour just to really get the rice spread throughout so that it's not going to clump together and you're not going to get equal distribution of the brown rice in it. And I do use brown rice because it promotes bowel movements and it's healthy for you. This was given to me as a strategy by a dietitian as one way of helping get the nutrition that I need without gaining weight. Okay, now I want to touch on what you can do for spices. So one of the strategies given to me was using curry powder. So there's any number of tastes of curry powder. This may not be your thing. I normally put in roughly 1 tablespoon for this size. And what it does is helps prevent inflammation. Now of course it's not gonna solve all the problems. It's one component of managing inflammation. Okay, and there's a few options that you could do, and this is really gonna come down to your personal preference. Okay, you can do parsley. Okay, that's my big thing of parsley. But again, in trying to make this easy and something that everyone could do, I also have, it's Italian seasoning. I blocked it when I dated this particular package, but this is a mixture of herbs. I happen to like the taste of it, and it means only having one package in your in your pantry. So what I typically do, we'll put in about 3 tablespoons, well, between 2 and 3. Now, on this particular one, because I've demonstrated other strategies, I'm only going to put in 1.5 because there are spices already in the tomatoes, for example. Okay, and I do think that there's merit in trying to stir this in as well. Now, all things being equal, you could come back in 45 minutes or an hour when the frozen vegetables had started on thawing. But what I kind of do is just sort of very gently, because the water's in there already, but just give it a stir and start to get it blended in. I want to point out to you that the protein, that's the meat, it's underwater, so it's going to reach the food safe temperature. So I don't mind the vegetables being on top. I never keep the protein on top. Okay, and there's your meal preparation done. So I put this on low. I suppose it would help if it was plugged in. Okay, give me a moment here. Okay, it's hard to see with the sunlight, but the light is on. Okay, now one more strategy for having a physical disability. You can put this on before going to bed. It cooks while you sleep, and then what you've done is day 1 mixing, day 2 freezing, and it spaces out the stress on your body. It's a strategy for managing your physical disability if you have one. And just for the record, I've got a number of these glass containers and matching lids, and that's how I freeze them. Okay, so that's a very easy, honestly an easy way that anyone could make a bunch of servings. And when you're cooking just for one, the idea of making it in bulk and freezing it really helps. And this isn't to mention, by cooking this now, I'm then free to do other things that I enjoy instead of being focused on just what keeps me alive. I get to do the things that involve using my hands, for example. Okay, I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for spending this time with me, and please let me know your feedback on this. I've been thinking about making a cooking video once a month, and sort of thought I'd start with this, with the idea that I could buy an overhead camera, that would look down on me as I'm getting the meal ready for 2 views. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.